Thanks, so I'm showing 6 o'clock, so we'll call this meeting to order. Please stand with the pledge meeting. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. And then we'll go into the agenda, make any changes.
Yeah, it's a browser.
Chairman, so now I request that we just do a quick review of the policy.
I'd like to I'll second that. Okay, approved in second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's. Here. Okay, and then we'll move on to our final applicant for position number 5. Let me say it correctly, Gillian Nelson. And if you want to just turn your microphone on. We have the questions, so we'll start through those. Please tell us about yourself, why you're interested in filling the school board position, and what makes you a strong candidate.
My name is Gillian Nelson. I've been involved in the Dufur school district since I was in kindergarten, so it's 13 years now. I've lived in the city of Dufur for 7 years now. I am interested in being part of the school board after seeing my son go all the way through his so far educational career here, and the opportunities and privileges that students have at Dufur that they wouldn't have in the bigger school district, such as the smaller classes and the amount of community support for this school. And then what makes me a strong candidate? I have involved experience in a lot of different fields, so I can relate to just about everybody, and I can communicate in ways that relate to just about anybody. I have a background in law enforcement, I have a background in the military, I have a nursing, I have a background in higher education, I have a background in healthcare. So I can talk to most people, so we can get the points made of like me.
And if I could just ask for anybody if it please me. I'm sorry about that. Okay, and number 2, what specific strengths, experiences, or perspectives would you bring to the board?
Like I mentioned, I have a lot of experience in a lot of different arenas that don't necessarily make sense looking at them individually, but putting them together. I have the ability to work with a lot of different groups successfully, and I understand hierarchy and going through the appropriate processes and making things better for a large group of people, even if it's not what I would necessarily do if I was operating by myself. I am able to work with groups of people and either come to a decision as a group or change my views to work and do the best for the community at large, in this case, the Dufur school.
Okay. And then, what do you see as the most significant challenges facing the district? And what is your vision of an outstanding school board?
My vision of an outstanding school board would be a board that is putting the most important people first, which would be the students of the school, all the way up from elementary school kids all the way up through high school. I think we do a really good job of supporting the high school graduates. One of the reasons I wanted to fill this vacancy was because of this amount of support my son got through his high school career here in Dufur. And I would like to see that support all the way through, from the littlest kids all the way up. I think the biggest challenge in the Dufur school right now is maintaining our sense of identity and remaining true to what Dufur school is, keeping class sizes small and the stability of the school district right now.
Okay. And how do you view the board's role versus the administration's role? And what is your understanding of or experience with policy and governance?
I see the board's role as more of for example, in the law enforcement world, more of the military world, more of the senior leadership, the commanders, the executive officers, the people who know what needs to be done and gives the directions and gives the guidance of what needs to be done. And then the administration's role is to get it done as the senior non-commissioned officers. They would be the ones who would just get it done. And they work together, but there's definite delineations. The board is overseeing the whole thing, and the administration takes the whole thing and makes it happen one year or the other. I'm sorry, what was the other part of the question?
And just any kind of experience piece that you did.
I've been on many committees and boards through church and other activities through the school, the college, and the NOWs, and during different programs that I've been in educationally. So I've been in positions where I've been part of the overall leadership, and I've been part of the underlings where we just engage in. So I understand both of those roles.
Okay. And then kind of along the way here, so how do you handle concerns from an upset parent or staff member? And how do you approach conflict or disagreements with colleagues? And if you have a specific example you could cite of where you worked through a disagreement or conflict, especially in a group leadership setting, what was your approach and what was the outcome?
I start by just listening to either who's coming to me with a problem or who's letting me know that there is a problem. And then from there, I will try to remove all of the personal feelings from the situation and not make any promises that I can't keep. I won't say, oh, I'll change that for you. I'll change that for you. But I will say, okay, I will look into that. I will talk to the rest of the board. I will talk to the rest of the administration team, whatever. And we will get back to you at some point once we have this figured out. And then just keep them in the loop. I talked to the board. We haven't come to a resolution yet. I've talked to the rest of the leadership team, and it will be discussed at our next meeting on this date, whatever the piece may be. Making sure that I don't make promises on behalf of the whole group when it's not just my decision. One of the things I do over the summer is I volunteer as the camp nurse at a camp over on the coast. And we had this situation, weeks ago, I can't remember exactly what week it was now, but, and we had a situation come up where, one of the parents was a little bit upset and came and went to the rest of the board. And then the board member came to me and they brought up their concerns and I kind of, took a step back and just said, okay, what's the real issue here? Something, it wasn't making sense. I didn't know if I misunderstood or if they misunderstood, but it wasn't making sense. So I reached out and said, hey, I don't understand what's going on. I understand where you're coming from and your need to be cognizant of confidentiality and all of that, but I don't know what's going on because the puzzle pieces aren't fitting. And then they're like, oh, sorry about that. We forgot to tell you the biggest piece of the puzzle that we had. And so once that conversation happened, then I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And things were resolved and we're back to the way that we operate, which is as a team. And just making sure that communication always stays open between all parties. And making sure everybody has the information that they need.
Okay, good. That's all the questions we have for you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Guy.
No problem, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on, looks like we're going to have a discussion and decide on the open position number 5. So we're going to have a discussion on how we're going to.
Yeah, so Kurt brought up BBE, so I don't know, Kurt, do you want that first before we talk about the appointments? Because within this, we have a 1-year appointment and a 3-year appointment coming up. So we got to figure out, since we have those overlapping, is there language in BBE that you wanted to let us know about? We need to clear some up before then.
It doesn't apply, so this interview for, there we go. The interviews here for position 5,
Yes.
sorry, what's that? Thanks to. Yeah, policy, BBE addresses the vacancies in the board and how long those terms will be. There isn't a problem with position 5, that position that we're interviewing today that expires June 30th of 2027, so the end of this year. And that was the end of the I guess the natural termination of that term. And so that will just open up for election. It was position 1, when I was talking to the chairman at our meeting last week, we were discussing there it might not be accurate. And so the initial advertisement for position 1 said it will expire June of 2029. And that's inconsistent with our policy. So the policy, if you go to the second paragraph of policy BBE, it says the appointee will serve until June 30th of the year when a regular district election is held. So that means position 1, that actually will terminate as well at the end of this school year. And so then that will have to be opened up for election in May. And the person would serve just a 2-year term. So bottom line, both position 1 and position 5, they both terminate as a point to a weak point or a viewpoint terminates in June 30th of this school year.
So we need to change the policy June 30th of the position election year. So if they serve out the term,
Yeah,
Right here in the third paragraph, it says the board member so elected as a replacement will serve the remaining year or years of the term of office of the board member being replaced.
Yeah, that's correct. So the position one, then, when that position opens up in May, they would run for a 2-year term only. They would run from 27 to 29, because position one goes until 2029.
No.
And that is so we don't have people expiring all at the same time.
So we would have to make sure that we get that on
Yeah,
next year's election for both.
exactly. And then our vacancy on our website, it's correct now for position one. It says that it expires in 2027. The initial application said 2029, but yeah, you're correct. So when we open that up in May, we'll have two openings. One will be position 5 that will go until the year 2031. That would be a 4-year term. And then the other position one would open up, and that would be a 2-year term. So that's how I read it anyway.
Yeah, I'm stuck on the terms. To the point, so second paragraph, the appointee will serve until June 30th year when a regular district election is held. So that's the appointee that's connected to the first paragraph. What fouls up my reading is the board member so elected by the appointed, which probably should change that word to appointed, so elected by appointment is what it would be. As every place will serve the remaining years of the term of office of the board member being replaced. So the term of office for position one would be until 2029. So that's the term of office.
That's correct. But that would be the elected person in May.
Okay.
The appointed person,
Yeah.
who you guys are appointing, will
Okay.
only go until June.
All right.
So yeah.
Okay, I'm following you now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it doesn't affect anything about the position by today though.
So it's a 1-year term, 2-year term, 2-year term. Position one is a 1-year term. Position 5 is a 1-year term. Position 2 would be a 2-year term until the election.
And anybody that we're appointing today, or coming up, will do 1 year.
Yeah.
We'll do 1 year. Low position will do 1 year to any point, and then the elections in May, those will be different.
Any other questions or discussion on?
I guess, yeah, no, I'm following.
Okay,
No, so it's clear now.
so let's have a discussion on appointment for the open position.
So typically where it goes, it's always, I nominate this person, if the second person's like, I like that person too, then the third person is swayed for that. I would like to see us do it differently, where everybody is considered somehow, and then we get a majority out of those positions. The problem with that is we can't do secret ballots, so we're like, oh, I think this person, and then we have to do open elective process. So I've got some ideas, but do you guys have any ideas of how an open discussion on how we can say we got 5 candidates, and then we don't want to just go, I don't think this person, and then you guys go, oh, I guess I'll go with their idea. So you can do we can do a tally where we go through and write the names down on a piece of paper, and then chairman can say so and so, and we just do a straw poll. Say, hey, that's who I am. If we have a majority for that person, or not majority, we have to have a unanimous decision. If we have unanimous for that one, then we don't move on. But I would like to see if you have candidates that you're like, I really want this person for this position, but we're split on it, we move those to the top again, and we consider those and do it that way. So, or we can decide just to do it. I nominate this person. If they don't get all 3 of us, then we move on to the next person. But usually you don't get what people like. It's not a super public thing. The second thing in that is someone did ask if we could poll the community, but since I wasn't in the chair that for this last few weeks, then I didn't put stuff together to So it would be nice to see what the community is. I asked community members, and got some feedback, but we didn't do a district school board pulse check with the community. I would like to see that, but then that puts us on a timeline of not deciding tonight, so.
That's,
Well, I haven't talked to, I mean, I've talked to some people in the community. But far as like writing down our top two or top three and then pulling them out of the hat, is that what it's?
No, the right. Dawn, really. And Angela, and you just move down and say, okay, how do we, an A for this, or a yes for this, and we're 2-1, then we move on to the next one. Move on to the next one, and if no one has any votes, you take the top two, then we go, okay. But the question for me is I'd like to hear from the community, but if we do that, then we have to make a motion to do a survey and then have somebody do the survey, then get the survey, look at the survey, then appoint at the next meeting that person. So it'll make it a little bit longer. On the flip side of that, people will say, we elected you to make this decision, so why? So I'm just trying to get the whole gamut of, there's pros and cons to all of it, and for the community to know that I've at least considered, I don't have the best answer for that. So,
Neither do I, because it's pretty helpful.
yeah.
well, and I think, I mean, I think it also boils down to who we're gonna make an appointment with. Um, would we narrow it down to a couple of people and put that out for a survey? And then make our decision? Because really, I mean, not much is gonna happen between, well, nothing's gonna happen between now and the next thing, if we call somebody tonight. So,
What is the date today? So our next regular meeting is August
14 days or something.
so we 2 weeks.
yeah,
2 weeks.
and we have that other position closing the 24th, if I remember right.
So do we want to do interviews for that other position in between the 24th and August? And then we can do another poll for that.
I personally would like to have whoever we appoint this on the interview process with the next one there. So.
Let's make a decision and move on. You know, it'd be nice to have some community input.
All right, so I would suggest that we do call it straw poll, or do a poll tonight among us, and we come up with a majority of, even minority, a couple of people, then we can do a poll with and you have to give me the authority to make a survey. Put that survey out, bring that divvy that out to you, in the process, like say, hey, here's the Google form, you guys can have access to it. Then we can bring that. The only issue, just to be transparent, is if we bring that survey, it becomes a public document, we bring that survey to the next meeting, then the opinions of the public will be with the candidates that we propose that we would want to put on the survey. So, or you just make it a click, like who do you prefer, and then what are their best attributes or something like that. So I just want to be sensitive to once you send that survey out, then people write whatever they're gonna write on it, that's gonna be attached to your name publicly for the rest of your life, so. So that's the issue with the survey, if you make it, give me your public opinion, so,
So can we just do a survey where you just pick person,
yeah,
no comment?
yeah.
I think I'd rather do that if they're gonna play that.
And to make sure that it's not replicable, so one person doesn't survey, click that same person correct 50 times, yeah, so. So there's pros and cons, I mean, you can always, with Google Documents, you can always figure out how to get around stuff and make it to where things are skewed, so. So I make a suggestion, we go through the names, we do a straw poll, if we would like to move on to poll the community.
And see where that comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So you'll have to run through the names and see if we, as a board, the question is, do we want to do it as a consensus, or not a consensus, as a unanimous to move them on, or do we want to have it as a 2-1 majority? Because this is just moving on to a point, and we don't have any process on paper for that. So bear with us as we're making this up as we go. So
so as far as,
2-1, you know, it's for them to move to the next step.
well, I think it would be unanimous, then that would pretty much
Yeah,
say who we want to appoint, right?
right.
well, you can have unanimous for moving, like you want the community to know who we unanimously would like the community to get a poll on. That's the decision, is who we want to move into community opinion for that. Because it'd be really nice if we just do an election through election process, but we don't have
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
So out of all of these, I move that we have the process to be unanimous moving on for polling of the community for information of who they would like us to appoint to this position.
I'll second it. It's been first and second, excuse me, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes. And do we need to make a motion to have you do the survey?
Probably officially, yeah.
I'll make a motion that Tim do survey for school board candidates.
Okay, I'll second it. It's been first and second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes. Since you're doing that part, you'll ring the room or?
Yeah, so I'll just say these names are going to be unanimous. The decision of bringing this on to get community polls with a survey. And so the first one is Riley Neuter.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Next one is Sean Skiles. Yes.
Yes.
yeah,
Next one is Ray Thomas. Yes.
yes.
Okay. Next one is Angela Aislinn. All right. Next one is Gillian. Yes. Okay. So that would be Riley, Sean, and Ray, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll get a survey with them going and get it out to the community.
So, that I didn't want this until just now. Are we gonna take with the next position, have we had anybody apply for the next position?
I haven't seen any.
Okay, so are we gonna pull from, lack of a better term, pool number one, this group? And whoever applies for the next position?
That's a great question.
I was gonna ask that.
Yeah. Kurt, as someone's looked over the policy, if you know, have any suggestions on how to, we have those two positions, rolling the first applicants into the second applicants, do you think we have to make them show interest again for that next position, since we're in?
My short answer is, I don't know. The positions are identical in the sense that they're only 1 year. And so there's no, both positions will expire. I don't see why that would be a problem. I think it would be more of a problem if you did that for something that was, I could find that for you though and see. I think to be on the safe side, you would, once you appoint somebody, let those other people know. Just fill out one more application for that other job, the other vacancy, and put it in an application for that. So, yeah.
Or if we don't have anybody applying, could we take the top two in this position?
Well, I think that,
One and two.
yeah, I think the safe thing to do is encourage those who didn't prevail. Who were not the five that were now successful, encourage them to apply at position one. I think that would be the safe thing, and then you've got a clean applications and a separate process for both positions.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
My question is just, so if that's the decision that the board is gonna make to have the candidates who didn't go to the top reapply, and you're not making a decision tonight, but the second application closed on Friday, how do we know if we should reapply to opposition?
that was where I was. And especially with having a survey out there too, because we don't know, so. Timeline. So, we get right back to that in 1 second. Timeline of the survey.
I'll have it out tonight, so how long do you guys want it to run?
Could we? It's Friday, too quick.
A week?
I mean, we need to know that, we need to get this going, so.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead, we're gonna open it up.
How do you verify that only district people are in the?
Yeah, I know that's, it's not gonna be a binding like, hey.
Not worried about that, I'm just asking, like, how do we, I don't send it to my
Yeah, exactly,
relatives in New York State,
Yeah.
and I can go with it, so.
yeah,
Well, and I think, excuse me, I think it's also going to be a part that we're gonna take as input. But it's not necessarily going to be the decision, we're still gonna make the appointment. So it's putting it out there to get opinion from some people and kind of go from there.
but I'll probably put, please provide your name, so if it's a weird name, that's not, you can tell it's a fake name. Or you could, or input it, are you a district resident? Put a question, just a clicker on that, and that'll give us some fuzzy idea. Cause we might get 10 people that do it, might get 150, or some.
I just wanted to make a suggestion because some of the people may have not been here for the first meeting where everybody else made their position on why they should be on the board. Would it be appropriate to have some sort of bio for each of the candidates? Just because, again, everybody on the meeting heard one person tonight, but there are 4 others, or contributors.
I'll
Speak to me.
I'll link a link to the video with the timestamp. Then probably the easiest way to do it is so they're taking their applications and bio. Their applications are actually public documents, so I'll try to link that too. But I'll have to go through emails for that. So
Okay, so we'll have that by Friday at the same time that we're having the applications close.
Yeah.
So then that still goes back to the question of how do we get to those people? So, Kurt, as a quick solution to that, would it be okay for those to send an email and say, I've submitted an application for Number 5, I'd like it to be considered for number 1. And you go from there.
I think the best way to do it would be to have all the candidates for position 5 that are interested at this point just apply. I mean, all the candidates that are interested in either position just apply. I think it's the safest way to do it. That way you have a clean record of applications for both. And then go from there. I think it's important to point out that these are 1-year vacancies. They terminate in 1 year. The expectation is that the board appoint. It's not expected to be an election. And that I think the policy is written that way to, it's written well in that it's just 1 year, or in this case, 11 months. That these people are on here. So I think as long as we get through the process correctly, but I think that would be the safest way, would be to encourage us, and we can help with that. Just reach out to all the candidates, encourage them to apply for both if they'd like, and just go that route. That way it stays clean and everybody's in the same pool.
Okay.
No more question that here for those that aren't selected for position 5 and move on to position 1 and they're interested, if they've already done a public position 5, or they've required to do that public for position 1, or will that carry over? And will we only interview and do?
Yeah.
I would prefer, speaking candidly, I prefer not to do another interview. I'm sure, but I don't think there's any law that says you have to, you got 3 positions open, you interview the same person for each 3 positions a week apart from each other. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know. Why not?
Yeah, and they're on record, I mean, it's on video what their answers were, so. I don't think they need to make a motion or anything to move that over. Clearly have consideration, so that's my opinion, Scott. I don't think we should make that interview again.
Sorry, just to throw this out there, what would then be the benefit of number 4 and 5 reapplying if you guys already said that these 3 are your top candidates?
That's a great question. Yeah. Well, there might be new candidates that give us applications that they are interviews for. And so that would give us another pool to compare those top 3. There might be 3 people out there that are, oh yeah, they're glad they're, and so they would actually move down. So that's gives us the ability to do that.
Okay. Any further discussion on these pieces?
No, we're just way ready to point somebody and move on, and we're
Means
And then the last thing about this is when we interview for, I'd like to see when we interview for position 5, when we get that right, no, position 1, that we do the appointment that night. Because then we're interviewing for the second, if we get new interviews.
well, I just said point somebody tonight and get one.
Well, I already moved that we do it.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, so we passed that, unless you wanted to make a motion to rescind or reconsider them.
I'll make a motion to reconsider it and appoint somebody tonight.
I'll second that. So it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. Motion fails.
So we just we got our top 3, hash it out, or put them in a hat, pull a name out.
Now, what we're doing is doing community polls, doing that survey back, and consider that in appointing that person the night that we interview or appoint the position 1. So we can essentially appoint tonight with no community input. And we have the person, or we get community input and appoint at our next meeting. So the only thing that's different is, which we would have, let me get my thoughts correct. If we reconsidered, which we already just did that, we reconsidered and appointed them tonight, then they're on the board for the next appointment.
Mhm.
If we follow the plan that we already set up, then we get the survey and then appoint them the night they do the interview. So essentially, it doesn't change any decision making from here to there at all. Does that make sense? Because there's no decision between now and the next appointment, and no real meetings. So it doesn't benefit except for they get the title tonight as opposed to community input and then title and appointment. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything further? So I would say for anybody who's interested, apply. Even those maybe who haven't thought of it. And I will just say one piece on your question. I have applied for a job that I got turned down for and got it eventually. So I would suggest anybody who's interested, here or with me, apply. And I want to thank everyone who applied. That's a different platform to fit in for an interview. But it's also still, thank you, and thank you for everybody who came out. If there's nothing further. Kurt, did you have anything further?
No.
Okay, I will call this meeting adjourned 6:41.